Welcome everybody to another edition of Mike North Early Bears Special. My name is Oliver Garnett. There he is, dressed in green today. Mike North, how are you?
It's a good color for me.
Green money, yes.
No, not necessarily money, but I wear it on St. Patrick's Day. It's an automatic, There's our guy, Nicky Welsh, top of the morning, the first of many that we'll hear from. My buddy, Aldo, I know you unexpectedly, and Donna, our condolences. You guys lost
Thank you.
Your father. You lost your father-in-law. I guess it was sudden. So condolences from everybody at the bar room. It's been a pretty rough patch for you guys over there at the Gandia residence, as I like to call it. And hope everything gets better along the way.
Well, it's already better because I have friends like you, Mike. So I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll try to give you a few laughs. The over/under might be 4.5, 5 laughs at the most. I'll see if I got anything. I guess the whole comical thing is that the Bears, have Justin Field out today. And we're going to be playing a guy that Dan McNeil tweeted it out that in 2018, Trevor Siemian had a year that would make him the 5th best Bear quarterback of all time. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. They're 7-point underdogs. I happen to think they can cover that. It will be interesting to see a different type of football, more stationary type with the offensive line.
Yep.
See what happens there. I think we'll see better thrown balls. We won't see the electrifying capabilities that you see from Justin Fields, who is starting to really make me like him because he doesn't. People get on him. The media, of all people, who never apologize for anything, from being wrong to taking bad takes to having misinformation, never naming a source. They never apologize for anything, but they said to Justin Fields, "Oh, you don't have to apologize," because they don't apologize. Journalists in journalism school, they're not taught to apologize when they're wrong because they be apologizing a lot. But I like a leader that says, you know what? We should have not only this win or should have played better, we should have probably had a couple more. And I like a leader that takes accountability and once in a while apologizes or says, you know what, I ain't playing all that good. Now, that can only go so far. We're going to find out today. If the Bears win today and Siemian throws for 240 yards, okay, now we're thinking, okay, we got a great running back quarterback because that's what he was called this week. I was watching the show. They go, he's a great running quarterback. He's got to get the passing down. And Siemian's the opposite. So it's gonna be fun, even though I think Poles, not a fan for him blowing up the team early. I see that Detroit was 1-6 and then they won 3 out of 4. They should have won 4 in a row, and they'd be right in the wild card. They didn't throw in the towel like we did. We threw in the towel. I mean, who plays on a 16-inch softball team? And the 8th week into the season, you get rid of your 2 best players. Or who plays on a bowling team? Who bowls on a bowling team when you are in your 7th week of a 32-week season and you get rid of your anchor man? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, who does that? The Bears. They're the only ones basically that made trades. And Roquan Smith, I don't care if people liked him or not, it would have been nice to have him and Quinn to see what would have happened over these last 4 weeks with veteran leadership teaching the younger guys along the way so you don't get some draft picks. Yeah, I'm tired of everybody in Chicago saying it's okay to throw in the towel after six rounds. I'm tired of it. I really am. So we'll see what happens today.
I agree with you in terms of I really want to see this offense run by a passing quarterback to see if we can get some more passing yardage. I forgot what the average is with Justin Fields in there, but it's just a little over 200. That's not going to cut it. We all know that's not going to cut it. He knows that's not going to cut it, but there have been improvements in his passing game. But it'll be interesting to see what Trevor Siemian can do there, because he's not going to pick up any yards rushing the ball. So he's got to rely on his arm. The conditions are going to be rainy in New York. So that is going to work a little bit against the Bears and would have worked favorably for Justin, unfortunately. Now, the one issue I will challenge you on is the Ryan Poles. Do you really think that this team had the roster to compete for a playoff position even before the trades of Roquan and Quinn?
I don't know, but I do know this. We all knew Atlanta didn't. We all knew Seattle didn't. We all knew the Giants didn't. We all knew the Jets didn't. I can name you 2-3 more teams that weren't supposed to do anything. And now all of a sudden their rebuild stops, because when you win, there's no more rebuild. Could be from year to year. The NFL always has new teams every year in the playoffs. 7 teams that made it the year before usually don't make it the next year. So I just thought throwing in the towel, and do I think they could have? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know this. It was interesting to hear Eberflus say, well, we'd like him to play. We need a win.
Yeah, right.
We need a win. And they're looking at him. Hey, end of games, turnover, interception. We need a win from you. And it was interesting because I'm still thinking they're not sold on him. Because if they want to let this kid play with a busted shoulder and the worst beating I've seen a quarterback take in 6 weeks, he's already 30 years old as an NFL player. And I want to thank everybody who pays attention to the bar room and to the odds couple. I was pleasantly surprised by people sending me messages that said, you called it on the bar room 2 weeks ago. Nobody else did. Well, that's why I'm still here. And I said, what did I call? They said, well, you were on the odds couple, and I've heard you on the bar room say he was going to get hurt. He wasn't going to last. I've been watching football since I was 10. You can't run like that. His window is so short right now. If he continues to play the way he is, I've been around the block about 1 million times. I've seen them all. Fran Tarkenton wasn't a runner. He was a scrambler.
Scrambler, right.
Randall Cunningham picked his spots. This kid runs like he's Walter Payton. And as a runner, maybe the next best thing. Who knows? I've seen him all. But he's not built like Payton. And he runs 18, 20 times a game. He won't be around. I've lessened it from 4 years with the Bears, maybe 3, where he's a starter. If he lasts that long, you can't play this kind of quarterback. And I appreciate everybody, the people that did notice and that listened to the bar room and ESPN. Nobody else said anything. They think this kid's just going to go out 16 games a year. This is only the beginning, kids.
Wow. I hope that you're wrong, and hopefully, and the only way.
Am I wrong if it happened?
Well,
it just happened. He's out.
I agree with you. I mean, you accurately predicted that he was going to hurt and not last the season. So you're absolutely right about that. What I hope that you're wrong about is that moving forward, that's not, and the only way that's going to happen, of course, is if he improves his passing attack. Right.
I love the kid. I love his toughness. He's made me like him. I never had anything against him. I just thought the last guy was better, but he's hit hard times where he's at because nobody wants to play him. This kid here's getting the opportunity, but I mean, he's just not built like Cam Newton. And Cam Newton lasted what, a minute? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Michael Vick. I mean, I could name you Baker Mayfield. You want me to name you quarterbacks that run? So long, everybody. There's a difference between a scrambler and a runner. He's a runner.
Mike, can you do me a favor and slowly and carefully move your mic away from the computer, because we're getting a little bit of an echo. Yeah, a little closer towards you. There you go.
You know I am with this engineering thing.
You did not go to DeVry. It's better now.
No.
People are telling me it's better now.
Thank you.
Fuchizi, yeah, Fuchizi is my sound engineer. He always is telling me, okay, you're going to need to do this.
Yeah, once in a while we get the echo. You know what? Once in a while I stop. You know, like I go. And at first it looks like I am having like a coronary. And then you hear me talking, and then all of a sudden I go, So I hope the Bears are getting 7. I hope they covered today.
Yeah, I hope they covered too. So let's take a look at some of the other NFL games, and then we'll talk about whatever comes to mind after that. So let's start with the Texans at Dolphins. Houston Texans are getting 14 points in this game. The Miami Dolphins are coming off a bye, Mike, and that tells me that they are going to be well prepared for Lovey's defense. This could be a high-scoring game, at least from the Dolphins' point of view.
I didn't bet. Are you still getting the echo, by the way?
I'm not hearing it. Let's see if the guys are hearing it.
Jeezy, you hearing the echo anymore?
Yeah, he says it's a little better, but we're still getting echoes for some reason.
Wait a minute. Hold on. How about
now?
All right, there we go.
There you go.
A little bit. Anyway, here's what I'm going to tell you. The Miami Dolphins, I'm not touching this game. I've had Lovie Smith for 3 different games this year, and I've never covered with him.
Oh, my goodness.
And David Mills, or whatever the hell that guy's name was, who was predicted to be all good, is all bad and benched.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've been scoring three points a game. So I see where it records that I'm supposed to take the 14. I won't touch it with a 25-foot pole. Forget about 10, 15, or 20. Forget about it. So I'm not going to thank you, Matthew. I'm not going to. I'm not. It's better now. You know what? I don't need to go to DeVry. You know what I use? Common sense.
There you go.
Common sense. I just move away from the computer. It's so much better. You got guys with dials, elbows up here like this. You know what I mean? Checking things, looking up like we're in a submarine. You know what I mean? Got the scope coming down. You know what I mean? So I'm not touching them with a 10-foot pole, 20-foot pole, 30-foot pole. I'm leaving this game off. If I was going to take the game, I mean, 14 points is 14 points. That's a lot. At what point, if you're a member of that team, do you become insulted? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Really?
And you're 14-point dogs. If I'm the coach, I motivate this team as the new coach by laughing at them and saying, I had a peewee team that could cover this game. And then see what happens. That needs some tough love with Houston. I'm off Houston.
Yeah, I was checking the weather. I can't find the weather for that particular game.
For Miami?
Yeah, for Miami.
It's either going to be hot or towns will be destroyed by a hurricane. It's one of the two.
Well, I do like Miami scoring a lot of points on a game, but that over-under at 46.5 and the spread at 14, yeah, maybe you're absolutely right. Just stay away from this game.
Well, I'll give you the perfect example. Last week I was 1-1-1. I had Detroit. They won. Mm-hmm. I had the Falcons. They pushed. And I had the under. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to happen in the NFL. But I do know this, that it's one of these games you stay away from. There's a lot of other NFL games that we can go to. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're ruining a lot of people's early morning coffee.
What do you want me to do? I watch TV. I watched Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Okay. Oh, speaking of vehicles, the electric vehicle thing.
Uh-huh.
I never have given a jag bag out. Okay,
that's right.
On this show, but I'd like to give a jag bag out to a person that I've conversed with on Twitter, Alyssa Milano, who canceled her Tesla. Okay, because she thinks Elon Musk is a white supremacist, right?
Okay,
and she traded it in for a Volkswagen EV, which was state-sponsored and owned by the Nazi Party in 1937. Good luck to everybody. Alyssa Milano, you are a jag bag. Wow.
Well, you're absolutely right. It was a Nazi Party that
Hitler goes, how's the engine running? I mean, and then she's trading it in for that? Steering's going, the steering column ain't right.
and put the engine in the back in the trunk.
Yeah, put the engine in the back with no heat. I had a Volkswagen Beetle back in the 70s. Okay, no heat. How do you produce a car in Germany with no heat? Well, we're finding out. They're knocking out they're going with solar panels now. The whole place is dark.
Gotta get a sound effect when you do that. That'd be great.
Crack like the Stooges.
Right.
I want to be the guy that hit the desk that made him sound. He had to be paid a lot of money because they needed him for about 15 different times.
I think our late arrival here has the wrong idea. No, Mike is saying he's not a Hitler fan. So
what an idiot. Go away. I'm not a Hitler fan. Alyssa Milano seems to be.
Trading in a Tesla for a...
that's how things happen. You get a goof like this with a fake name. He comes in and, look, put up that name again.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to try to figure that out?
Yeah. Elon Musk is watching the show. He'll get rid of this guy.
That's hilarious. All right, let's move on to our next National Football League game. Let me get rid of my friend Chitlins here and put up this graphic. Chitlins. I love Chitlins. Yeah, that's what that.
I love Chitlins.
I've never had Chitlins. Next time
I was in the South. I had them once. I almost threw up. Really?
What is Chitlins, by the way? I mean, what is that?
They told me afterwards. And then I did throw up.
Again.
Okay.
All right. This next game, the Ravens at the Jaguars. This is my pick of the week. I am picking the Jaguars to upset the Ravens, take the money line and the spread, and makes yourself some money or lose some money because it's coming from me. So beware. No. But I really like the Jaguars to upset the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback for the Ravens, a quarterback that I love a lot, but he's only thrown 7 touchdown passes in the last 7 games because of injuries to his tight end, his wide receivers. And so that offense is sputtering a little bit. And I think the Jaguars might upset the Ravens. You got any thoughts?
I love them.
Oh, look at that.
I love them, but me, you, and Carmen both have the Jaguars.
Really?
Carmen didn't pick them as an official pick. I picked them. Now, last week I was 3-2 on the show on the odds couple on 1-1 here. But what Carmen says sometimes, or what I'll say is, like I went, I like the Jaguars, and Carmen goes, yeah, that's a good pick. Well, that means Carmen and I are about 50% riding together on this. If you have 5 guys in a room and all 5 guys, like one team, forget about doing all the homework. Just go and bet the other way and hope it works up, Absolutely. So I like in this game, first of all, I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's a class act. I think he's a great teammate. I've seen Justin Fields become more like him. Last year, Justin Fields, I don't know, sent out bad vibes, maybe because of Nagy and because of the other stuff, and there was some social issues I wasn't apparently a fan of. And you know what he's doing this year? He's Aldo? He's concentrating on football.
Yeah,
he's playing football. He's apologizing for not playing as good as he could. He's a guy that holds accountability. He said 2-3 weeks ago, I played like trash. We had a guy named Jay Cutler that said we almost off. It was 57, never showed any emotion at all. Can't stand the guy to this day. Okay. The fascination over a 500 quarterback at 57 who cost us $118 million is all because of the media ball sucking. That they loved him so much and they threw in with him and he absolutely sucked. So I like this kid. And I saw the receiver yesterday, Marvin Harrison.
Yes.
Of course, he's an idiot. He headbutts somebody. Your father was a pro. You disgraced your dad, but your dad's had issues too. Marvin Harrison.
Oh, yeah. I remember. Yeah.
I like this kid Gaddis that's a receiver too. I'm not sure about Harrison. I'm not. And we're not going to get him anyway because people are going to start tanking. But I was not a fan of what he did yesterday when he put himself ahead of the team. But I love Justin Fields. Get him a receiver like that or like Gaddis and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm off the Ravens and Jaguars thing. I was going to bet the Jaguars, but I'm not going to do anything now because all 3 of us like them.
Lay off.
I'm being straight honest about it. I can wait.
That's right. And money comes in this week or next week, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't mean I could go bet another game.
There you go. Well, let me ask you, are you going to bet on the Falcons at the Commanders? Those Washington Commanders are red hot and good for Ron Rivera. You know, when the Bears played the Washington Commanders
The
earlier.
Bears win that game, Rivera might get fired.
Yes, exactly. Well said. You know, and
on his old turf.
Yep.
Fields and the Bears bailed him out. Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't throw in the towel, and now look at them. They didn't do what the Bears did. Look at them. Yeah. That's another team that could have thrown in the towel. You know? So I have no play on this game, but I do have a total.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it's great to have the totals back to the 1970s. Okay?
That's right.
That should tell you the type of quarterbacks that are out there, by the way. Because there's not a whole lot of great defenses. But listen to these totals. 47, 43, 43, 38, 40, 36, 42. You know what that tells me? Rodgers and Brady ain't as good, and Kyler Murray and Justin Fields ain't going to get it done like those guys did. We're missing a lot of stud quarterbacks. That being said, I take the under 40 in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those games where both teams can't find themselves. Yeah, I had it at 40 and a half. I'll take the under 40 and a half in that game. That's my first play.
All right. I'm writing that one down because I like the way that's
good. How'd you do last week, by the way?
Not too good.
All right. Let's move on.
About it. All right. Tom Brady is visiting Cleveland today. His Bucks are going to take on the Cleveland Browns. The over-under is at 42.
Yeah, who has more fun than us?
Yeah, I love the show.
Yeah.
The spread is at
sponsor David Spada.
David Spada. We should play his commercial because that's always a.
You know what we should start doing? We should start playing it at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And then for the playoffs, we hike the price.
I love that thinking.
David, I'm just kidding.
David, thank you very much for being
here. Yeah, thank you, David. No.
This is an intriguing matchup. The Bucks are giving away 3 points on the Cleveland Browns. Why? Tell me why you want the Browns to win.
Because they're on the road. The Browns are at home.
Right.
The Browns are barely breathing. We know that. In fact, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
But they got this guy, Deshaun Watson, coming back. What a stain. What a urine stain on everybody that is. But I like Cleveland plus the 3. I took them at 3.5. I'm not saying Tampa Bay can't win. I think it's going to be a close game, and Cleveland's been getting beat up in the press. Usually a team, when they're getting beat up in the press, will come back and at least put forth an effort and see what happens there. Brady's not the same as he was, but he's still very, very good. They're going to make the playoffs, but I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns.
All right. The Bucks, I'm trying to check here. The Bucks record on the road is 2-2, and the Browns are 2-3 at home. Right. Yeah, that's pretty close. So, all right, you got Cleveland. Deshaun Watson will be back next week. We'll talk more about him next week. Let's play that David Spada commercial right now.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I don't forget it. And this is Mike recording a commercial somewhat 30 years ago, 25 years ago, maybe
30 years ago, something like that. But who's counting? I mean, that's when I used to go what like that a lot. You know, I mean, those were the days. Who's coming at me?
But it's a testament to David Spada's business that this guy has been in business for decades, doing a great job. Listen to Mike some 30 years ago.
If you're injured at work, don't try to be a hero and work in pain. Immediately tell your boss how you were injured and seek medical treatment. Then call my guy, attorney David Spada, to make sure that your rights are protected. David will fight for the payment of your medical bills, lost wages, and settlement. Insurance companies and employers have individuals representing their interests. Why not you? You must have an experienced attorney on your side. All fees are contingent upon your recovery. Call David Spada at 847-729-COMP. That's 847-729-2667.
Amazing.
He's so good. David, we appreciate it. We really do. By the way, I stretched and I saw my belly. I put the feed bag on the last 3
By the way, the Twitter video that you sent out and that you send out every year on
top 10 Thanksgiving Day tips that I've done for 30 years. It was only, I said this, I'll never forget. I go to Jigs. You know, It's a little slow right now. We've talked about football. Why don't I try something new on sports radio?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about something else besides sports. And Jiggs goes, go ahead. Because Jiggs always went along. He didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Jiggs says if it's working, it's working. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
We try it once and we wouldn't bring it back. So I do these top 10 things, and all of a sudden we're getting all these responses. Now, we didn't do like people do now. They're lazy, most of them. You know what I'm saying? They're lazy. Next coming up, what's your 5 worst Thanksgiving Day sides? Okay.
I love it.
And then the next segment, is turkey out as a traditional dish? I heard this all week. We used to just do the segment. I gave out the Thanksgiving Day tips. You can go to North and check it out. But, the Irish gene in me kicks in for the Thanksgiving Day, and I just saw I'm Lamont in the phone booth, trying to get money for the belt. I'm Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker right now. That's the way I feel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I have Tom Hanks. I'm Sean Penn as John Mitchell in Gaslit. All right? Enough.
That is so good.
My God. By the way, I watched Tom Hanks as Colonel Parker. I didn't like him at first. He's sensational. Sensational, though. Have you seen that movie yet?
Oh, yeah. It's a phenomenal movie.
He's sensational.
Yes, he is. There's no doubt about it. The movie's really about him more than it is about Elvis, in my mind.
That's why that was the angle,
Yeah, very, very.
God, you know what? I love that word he used. I use that to get in the radio. Snow job. You know what I mean?
I love it. All right, let's go down.
We're going to make it snow. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. Tom Hanks is this generation's greatest.
Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah, well, yeah. He's the Jimmy Stewart of this generation. That's well put.
Jimmy Stewart could play any of Tom Hanks's roles, and probably, although Castaway, I think Tom Hanks deserves an Oscar just for losing all that weight.
No shit. Yeah.
My God. The discipline you have to show. Yep. I went on a diet. I'll go on a diet today. I'll be off it in 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have your, but when you're, I guess when you, like De Niro too, like De Niro losing the weight, but then he did the opposite, and then Benicio del Toro in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, they actually thought, when he made that movie, he was off the reservation. He looked horrible because that's what the lawyer looked like. But I guess they said he drank like 10 milkshakes a day. and then he lost all that weight.
He's amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That is good stuff. All right, let's go down to Carolina where the Denver Broncos. Oh, my gosh, the Denver Broncos. What a mess.
What year do you go from Colonel Parker to the Denver Broncos?
Here's an interesting thing about the Broncos. They elected to just bring in a veteran quarterback and try to win with the personnel. Ryan Poles has taken the opposite approach. He's rebuilding. He's tearing everything down and rebuilding. And both are miserable teams right now.
Yes, they are. Russell Wilson has shocked me.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, they always thought he was a coach. Pete Carroll's a great coach. He might be coach of the year. You lose Russell Wilson, you replace him with Geno Smith. I've loved Russell Wilson. That's been no secret here. And I think you look at Russell Wilson and you forget he was a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah.
So Russell Wilson is a 3rd-round pick.
Right.
Might be as good as any that's ever been a 3rd-round pick. I think Joe Montana. I don't know if Joe.
Joe Montana was a 3rd-round pick from.
Joe Montana. When I think of Super Bowl quarterbacks, 3rd-round picks. These guys weren't 1st-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
So I give them all the credit in the world, but that Hackett stinks. Nathaniel Hackett stinks.
Oh, gosh,
that being said, I can't. If I was going to bet this game, I'm betting Denver today. How is Denver favored? Because they're playing Carolina and Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold is the guy that told people after a loss that he threw the ghosts that were on the field.
I remember.
Okay?
That. Yes. I'm seeing ghosts out there.
I can think of 5 other excuses I would have come up with, just spitballing. Maybe my arm's sore. I didn't know the guy cut the wrong way. But seeing the ghosts and throwing 2 of them, I'm going the other way. I won't bet it, but I would take Denver.
I love it.
My God.
Stephen Mee has a good one here. Let me find it. He says he would love to see Jimmy Stewart in the movie Splash. There it is.
Oh, hey, Jimmy Stewart. You know what? He always played he never got into too much makeup. I think the Flight of the Phoenix, the good one with Jimmy Stewart, not the one with all the male models that look like they, had water sprayed on them before the next scene. Dennis Quaid and Ty Diggs or whoever these guys are. Jimmy Stewart did a good job. I mean, Jimmy Stewart, It's a Wonderful Life. Tom Hanks could play it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. Good call, Johnny.
Yeah.
But we were talking about 3rd round picks, but I understand.
Yes.
All
right. Let's move on now to where are we going now? Tennessee. The Bengals are giving away 1.5 and the over-under is 42.5. What do you think about this one?
Well, I think, first of all, that Ryan Tannehill is the guy that was a bust, considered a bust. And he's played great quarterback. He keeps the ball out of people's hands. He's not fancy. He just does the job. I know that he takes a hit for being the 1st seed last year and not getting it done in the playoffs. So what? Okay, that happens. Jimmy Garoppolo last year got pillaged, and they wanted to give a job to some novice, and they traded 3 first-round picks for him. I mean, San Francisco has been saved by the injury to Trey Lance.
Indeed.
Okay, because Jimmy G's great. I don't give a damn what anybody says. How they could have started the other guy in Chicago on the road to this day is a mystery in that first game when Jimmy G lived 10 miles away, grew up 10 miles, 15 miles away, and played in this weather. Nonsense. That being said, Burrows is a stud. I'd take Cincinnati. I'm not going to bet it, but Burrow is a stud. And I think that the fact that Tennessee, Chase is supposed to come back maybe today. Maybe. He practiced this week. Boy, I come up with this stuff, don't I? Just, Tennessee should be favored. Except for one thing, Joe Burrows. I'm going to put the heat on Tennessee to win this game, but I'd lean Cincinnati.
The winds are supposed to be about 20 miles per hour, so they might impact the passing game, which is why I'm kind of leaning a little towards Tennessee with that that they have. So
okay.
But what the hell do I know?
Well, what does anybody know with the weather and if somebody's going to show up or not,
I hear you. All right, let's go to Arizona where the Chargers are playing the Cardinals, and it's 2.5 points being given to the Cardinals at home. Man, that's intriguing.
This Herbert kid, I keep hearing about him. I know he throws up a lot of yards and stuff like that. Arizona's not working out. It's a stay-away game for me. I'd lean Arizona at home. But Colt McCoy played last week for Arizona. You know what sucks? You're getting older. When I can remember when I was debating with people whether Colt McCoy was going to be a good pro quarterback, and he's in his 14th damn year already. And he looks the same. He's got the Irish gene. He looks the same as he did when he played at Texas, for Christ's sake. Except for one thing. They were throwing him around like a rag doll. The Chargers should win this football game. I'm not going to bet it. But if you're viable and you got this guy Herbert, you got the Cardinals with Kingsbury not getting it done. Murray had his feelings hurt at the beginning of the season when they put in a clause that you got to do film study. My God, that they actually put that in his contract. I'd lean the Chargers, but not play it.
All right, good stuff. Seahawks are at home against the Raiders, the ever disappointing Raiders. What a franchise!
I'm going to tell you how bad Derek Carr is. I got him as worse than Cutler. And I'll tell you what. Cutler, loser. Okay, I said it from the beginning. But Derek Carr's been in that team for 10 years, and they've never won a playoff game. Never.
Wow.
So I think this should be the last year. How long? They brought in Devontae Adams. That hasn't worked out. I'll be the first to admit, yes, I will apologize. I will apologize for wanting the Bears to take McDaniel as their head coach. I loved him. I loved him with New England. But some guys are just coordinators, just like this Hackett. Well, Hackett's not even that. He had Aaron Rodgers. Although people will tell you how good's Aaron Rodgers doing without him as the OC. But then you look at the team and you say, nobody could win with that team. John says, Justin Herbert is most overrated quarterback foul. You might be right about both of them. Justin Herbert is what I call a regular season hero, a stat stuffer. a stat stuffer, and then you look and they're not in the playoffs. And you see all these yards.
Yeah.
And they got rid of Gordon, who was a fumbler. Okay. So at least they've taken some positive steps. They kept playing him at running back, and Melvin Gordon was fumbling.
Yeah, the word on Kyler Murray is that he doesn't prepare enough during the week. He's easily distracted and so forth, and it's too bad.
They didn't put that clause or tried to, and they took it out once it got out that you got to do 4 hours of film study.
Right.
Now, McMahon never watched film.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But he had 72 NCAA records.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when he got there, he could just look and say, call an audible. He knew. He had it inside him. You got to work to be being great at anything. You got to work. You got to put in the hours. You got to put in the time. Okay. You don't get great at anything by putting in just a partial amount of time. Okay. That's the bottom line. I don't care what you're talking about. If it's selling hot dogs, if it's being a salesman, if it's being a radio guy, if it's being a quarterback, if it's being a corporate boss, you got to put in the time. If you don't, you will be exposed.
Over and over again. All right. It is the LA Rams going down to Kansas City to play those amazing Kansas City Chiefs. Look at the line on this. Minus 15.5. The Rams are getting 15.5 points. The over-under, surprisingly, is only at 42. I'm surprised by that.
Well, Stafford's hurt.
Oh, that's right. He's got a concussion.
Stafford's hurt. But he's a loser anyway. He's a one-hit wonder. I'm calling the guy that won the Super Bowl loser. You're a loser. So is Aaron Donald. So is McVay. You come back and you put forth that product. Huh? I mean, you lost that one game. You let Brady go all the way down the field rushing 3 guys. Raheem Morris stinks as a defensive coordinator. Stafford finally got his commercials on TV this year, and he crapped the bed this year. And the same goes for the whole organization. You know, I don't like LA teams to begin with. We went 35 years without it. You'd always hear me, we need a team in LA. No, we didn't. And then you put 2 there. And they're not none of these this year. They're throwaways. That you're getting 15.5 and you're a former Super Bowl champion. How pitiful is that? And Sean McVay, okay, you won your Super Bowl. You got your quarterback. You got 1 more year. He had TV offers last year. Maybe he should have taken them.
I was just about to say that, Mike, because he was contemplating retirement. He kind of openly said a couple of things. And so the TV offers came in. He should have jumped on the best.
It hurt the team, too.
Yeah.
That hurt the psyche of the team. You know, I won a Super Bowl. I'm gone. Okay, I understand. Bill Cowher did the same thing. You know, Sean Payton did one, too. You know. I mean, Sean Payton, they call him the quarterback whisperer. They say he's waiting for the LA Charger job, and that'd probably be a good hire. But once Breeze quit, he sucks too.
That's right.
I'm sorry, you suck. Okay? Breeze gets some credit for the whole thing, in my opinion. Oh, there's no doubt Aaron Donald is overrated. Tired of how muscular he is, and he does this crap and all that. He's the best defensive player in football. No, he's not. You're out of your minds. He wasn't the best defensive player in football last year. Don't ask me who, but it wasn't him. I mean, how J.J. Watt is a monster, and his brother is when he got hurt, Pittsburgh lost 4 in a row. There's a lot of great defenders out there. I'm not putting Aaron Donald as a defensive tackle as the best player.
Yep. All right, we got 2 more here for Sunday's action.
You sound so happy.
Well, I'm a big Aaron Donald fan, so
I know you are.
You kicked me in the nuts when you said that.
Well, what are you gonna do? You know, I just think you got to show up.
I hear you.
And never not come to work not ready to play. These people they show up and they put a Jalen Ramsey. Take a hike. Yeah. Take a hike. You let them roll down the field on you. Yeah. Take a hike.
And you're absolutely right about that. And Aaron Donald was talking about retirement too. And I think that was bad for the psyche of the team.
Absolutely. Retire.
Right.
Go.
Yes.
Let him start over. You won the Super Bowl. You threw all in. They're in trouble now for a long time.
Right. Yeah. I'm tired of athletes publicly talking about that they're contemplating retirement or that they're saying it publicly to use as a negotiating tool. And come on, get out of here.
Shut up. We don't care.
Yeah, you're freaking making more money than I will ever see in my life. I don't want to hear about your problems.
Yeah. Here's what you are and what you will always be, because I've seen them come and go. I mean, I remember my one of my favorite championship teams was the 64 Cleveland Browns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen them come and go. Okay. You're meat. You're pieces of meat. You know, somebody said, oh, would they treat us like pieces of? That's what you are. They eat you up. You produce. You give the team success, and then you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made Walter Payton retire early. That I know.
Yeah.
They featured Neil Anderson in the same backfield as Walter Payton when he still was great. I don't care how old he was. And they made Neil Anderson the feature back. That's how stupid the Bears are.
Well,
I mean, seriously, think about that. Gary Fensick saw him play in L.A. against the Raiders. Sorry. Or Dalco. I'm freaked out. They made him retire. They retired him too. I know they had another year in them. So I just don't get these teams. I really don't.
It's amazing. All right, we got the Saints at 49ers. The Saints are being given 9 points because Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers are running on all cylinders. It's a great thing to see that team. And with that defense they have, this should be a shellacking.
First of all, I just want to say that the National Football League is prejudiced against Italian quarterbacks, number one.
I'd say the same about Puerto Rican quarterbacks, but there aren't any. So
about the other way, yeah. What? I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
I said I would say that they're prejudiced against Puerto Rican quarterbacks, but there are none.
No.
We need a Puerto Rican quarterback in the league. Come on, let's nurture one.
Seriously, if an Irish quarterback, if a black quarterback, if an Asian quarterback, if a Bulgarian quarterback had the years that Garoppolo said, he'd be getting an extension.
Yeah. Right.
I just don't. I've never understood it. That being said, 9.5 points is a lot. We're getting down to the end. I don't think teams want to get crazy and get hurt or anything else. I would probably lean the 9.5. But how bad? Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about certain guys like Byron Leftwich and who was at Tampa Bay. What did he teach Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston can't even beat out Andy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we call a bust. But I'll take the 9.5 and lean that way.
All right. You got a lot of supporters in the chat room agreeing with that. And then there is the Sunday night game. The Packers are going to get clobbered at the Eagles. But what I want to know is
that your analysis?
That's my analysis.
All right.
I want to know if you agree with me. I love Jalen Hurts in this game.
Yes. Right. Although I will tell you this, Philadelphia doesn't look like the shoo-in that they did a couple weeks ago. They've showed, teams have studied the film.
Very true.
And they've seen some discrepancies. I still think it's hard to stay up there. The NFC, Dallas to me, and San Francisco seem to be playing better ball than them. Same with Minnesota, who had a good game last week. I would probably say Philadelphia will cover, but they're not the cinch that everybody thought they were to go through the playoffs.
Do you think? Well, I do agree, because I was saying the same thing about the Eagles going to the Super Bowl, but now I'm starting to hedge a little bit and thinking maybe they're not as great as I thought they were.
The wrong season.
Yeah. Well, and tonight will be a good test, because the Packers, whatever you say about the Packers, they're gonna give you a fight on national TV. Now they had a terrible game against the Cowboys 2-3 weeks ago, but I don't think that's going to happen again. What are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers, and do you think that he can salvage this season and save some face, because his face has been dragged through the mud?
Well, he's dragged himself through the mud too. I think he's a piece of crap. I always have.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a me guy. He throws his teammates under the bus. It's all about him. When they win, it's because of what he does. When they lose, the receivers are new. Or he says he's got a broken thumb, but he says he's not giving any excuses. Well, wait. I'm not giving any excuses, but my thumb. First of all, you're full of crap with the broken thumb. You know who had broken thumbs? Paul Newman in the Hustler. Those are broken thumbs.
That's right.
You have a cast on your thumb when it's broken. Okay. You show up at the door. They broke his thumbs in the Hustler. He's got a sprained thumb. Maybe he's got nerve damage in his thumb. There's no way. If your thumb is broken, Scout's honor, you can throw a football. If it's your throwing hand. So I think he's full of shit. Excuse the language. I don't like him. Never have. He's got one Super Bowl to his credit, like Jeff Hostetler and Brad Johnson, and I hope he loses.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, I know. We don't like him.
Oh my goodness, he's really a terrible human being. Is what I'm getting.
Here's the thing: if he grew up around our neighborhood back in the day, he would have had a problem.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Tell me about
that.
Yeah, indeed. All right. I want to get to a topic here because our buddy Don Burr, he may be gone now, but he was in the chat room earlier. Don visits all of our Bears programming here on the Barroom Network because he is a huge Detroit Lions fan. So I want to get your take on the Lions because they appear to be improving and moving in the right direction. What's your take?
First of all, Goff's playing good football for him. He's been a Super Bowl quarterback. He took a beating, nobody's taken. Yet he gets him to a Super Bowl. I guess he couldn't get that final piece, so they bring Matthew Stafford in. I understand. Maybe he got a little bit lazy, stuff like that. I do know this: their head coach, if they make a new Jaws, should be the captain, Quint. Okay. I'm watching him on the sidelines. I go, they make a new Jaws. That's the captain.
That's so true.
Right? We had Robert Shaw, did a great job.
That's right.
But this guy from the Lions is the new guy. Okay. And I really like Detroit. I did not like how you're not getting any echo, are you?
I think somebody said that we weren't, and now we are. I don't know what's going on here. Jeepers. It's the weirdest thing.
Are we know anybody? Okay, so anyway, yeah, I hear it. I like Detroit, but I could not. Oh, it's gone. Yeah, that's all you had to do is hit a button. Did you hit a button? I can't hear you now.
I muted myself. When I mute myself, it sometimes goes away, and
it goes away when you mute yourself. So
bye.
Mute yourself. No. So here's what I'm going to say. I love Detroit, but he should have gone for the touchdown at home. You got to go for the touchdown at home. You can't go for a field goal in that. And then they missed the field goal and lose. I was surprised at that because he's been pretty aggressive, but I like him. I like to watch him. He's like a throwback guy like Ditka back in the day.
He is a throwback, but I think that team has an enormous amount of talent, and they're going to acquire more talent because they got a lot of assets coming up. My problem with the team is the head coach. He's a very inspiring guy. He's a very entertaining guy, but he just always makes bad decisions. It seems like he's always going for it on fourth down and they don't get it or what have you.
Yeah, I just brought up too. He should have gone for the touchdown. I also know this though. They've won some games this year and they never used to win any games. And if the Bears think that if they're rebuilding, see, I always get a kick out of it. The White Sox fans are just as dumb. We're rebuilding. What do you think the other teams are doing? And then I hear the White Sox are looking at Clevenger, okay, from Cleveland with his sparkling 4.48 ERA. I hate to change the subject, but I said second place or bust on Twitter yesterday. Okay. What an underwhelming. We're supposed to be excited about that. You know what I mean? What an underwhelming ball club we have. And the same thing goes for rebuilding. We're always rebuilding. They want you to think that. Okay. And I just think that teams like the other teams are rebuilding just like us. So if the Bears lost to Detroit this year, and they never used to lose to Detroit. Okay, with Mitch, they beat Detroit. With Mitch, they beat Minnesota. That's why Eberflus said what he said this week. We're losing by 2-3 points. Hope he can play. We need a win. and unfortunately he's hurt. And I'm not against, the nonsense from Bear fans. Well, let's rest him, and next year we're really going to go. No, you don't know that. Next year he's going to be good, and then you love my little character. Next year he's going to be good, and we're going to win everything. No, he's not. See, Bear fans like entertainment over winning, and he is entertaining, and I love him, but I want to win. And I've been here since day one on the barroom saying that's my whole deal. I didn't want to be third best, fourth best of what I do. I wanted to be the best. And that's what Justin Fields wants to be.
Agreed.
He wants to be the best, I can tell.
Agreed, but I've been saying for years, the Bears just need to blow everything up and start from scratch. Really, I mean, just get rid of all the high-priced talent, the Khalil Macks and all these guys, the Jay Cutlers. The whole idea that they signed Cutler to that contract was ridiculous.
Oh, it was sad.
Yeah.
The extension, which the media went along with, these people are afraid to ask their bosses for a dime. And they went along for that stupid contract extension, and they're all still working.
Right.
They all still work for the Bears and writers, and they work for the Bears, folks. Or they work on the radio station that they're on, and they work for the Bears, folks. I mean, it's a bunch of nonsense. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So my hope, though, is that Ryan Poles gets it right, that he makes the player acquisitions for the 2023 season that's going to start showing us the right direction, and that Fields becomes the quarterback that I hope and pray that he
hope he does. I'm not thrilled with Claypool, but I'm thrilled with the fact that Claypool is enough of a distraction that it's helping Mooney, and Cole Kmet, cuz. God bless you. Our whole family, people, I'm cousins with Frank. In fact, with Cole, I talked to Frank about a week ago, his dad, and we're all excited in the family.
Good.
Because he's producing now. It was quiet for a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, I got a feeling that Cole is going to have a really strong game today in New York. That tight end is going to be used a lot in those rainy conditions. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. Watch for Cole Kmet to maybe have the most receptions that he's had all season long.
And I'll also say this. He's at the age now where the Kansas City guy started playing good when he was that age. Kittles. The first couple years, the tight ends is a feeling out thing. Cole is at that age now where and I love the play. It was a bad throw, but it was a good throw. The one where Cole was running this way and he had to turn and he caught it for the turn. That's a tough play for a big tight end to make, and he made it look easy. So, you know what? I think, I keep hearing the Bears don't have anybody around Justin Fields. It might be the other way around because Cole Kmet's good. Mooney's good. Claypool has served his purpose. I said he'd live off some of the balls that were on broken plays. I hope he gets better. He's still finding himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't get out of my mind. Pittsburgh got rid of him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I love our running game. Herbert hurt us being hurt, but I love our running game, and I love Justin. I love the kid. But he's got 25 fumbles in 2 years, and he's recovered. They've recovered most of them. Are we going to win a Super Bowl with them? That's the question you ask yourself, and the answer I have, honestly, right now is no.
Well, I hope you're wrong on that.
That's not just his fault, though. We need more around. We need a defense, and we need other things.
Offensive line, right?
Yeah. Well, I like the offensive line, but we'll find out more about it today. But you know what? When Justin Fields holds up onto the ball like he did a few times last week, and he makes big runs or he gets sacked, that's from holding on to the ball, too. And I've been hearing people around the nation, national people, say the line ain't as bad as people think. So we'll see.
I agree with those people. I think that line has gotten too much criticism, and that Justin.
You brought it up first. How do they lead the league in rushing? I know they got a quarterback that can run, but Montgomery's a tough down to get down.
Yeah,
the running backs have played great.
Indeed. And hopefully this young quarterback, Justin Fields, is going to make the progression necessary. I see some hope.
Well, there's more than was 6 weeks ago.
That's
6 weeks ago, we were shopping for a guillotine at the hardware store. We said, "Do you have instructions?" And then you broke in. Well, if you don't have a guillotine, do you have a sharp chainsaw? What other kind of chainsaw is there besides a sharp one?
I remember that. Yeah.
Wow.
Chicago teams have us buying guillotines and chainsaws.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said, I go, you got those ties? And they go, why? Waldo's going to tie him behind my back, and he's just going to throw me in the water because I've had enough.
Well, fortunately, you are winning a lot. Well, what is your record lately on the odds couple? How you been doing? Well,
we were 3-2. I was 3-2. We're winning every week. We've only had one losing week the last month. I was 3-2 last week. Randy was 2-1. Carmen had a 1-2 week, but he's been on fire too. We're doing great. We're going into our 5th year. We were told, yeah. Well, the whole thing is I'm working at ESPN. That was sort of unexpected.
Yes,
but we've come through, and Prop Swap does a great job for us. Just like Prop Swap has put in a lot of money into the show. Got good leadership over there, so we'll see what happens. We're going into our 5th year next year, so I'll, they'll yell to me, "Nice job!"
5 years at ESPN.
I love it. I love Carmen. I love Randy. I love Charlie Bevins. I love all the people over there. It's a good company.
I remember you at the Score. I was listening to you one day, and you had just signed the new deal with WSCR at the time. And one of the things you said is, I want to be here, and I want to make sure that we're the absolute best radio station in Chicago, and I want to beat the pants out of that other station. Those were the words, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But now, the challenge is the other way. You want to beat that team that
you know what it is now? It's a changed business now. It's not the same viciousness that I had. I had viciousness. I wanted to win. Yeah. I mean, it was nothing personal against anybody. I've always had that, whether it's playing sports or, a business, going the extra mile, being the best hot dog stand in the country, like Rolling Stone and USA Today put down. We were a little place. I had flukies come by. I had the owners congratulate me. Ronnie Samario from Roma's. Great job. I mean, in our neighborhood. The same thing goes for radio. I want to win. That's why I get mad at the Bears. We're playing around. I mean, I'm in my 7th decade now. What do you think? I got spare time? What the hell's the matter with you? I may look like I'm 50. I may have the blood work of a 55-year-old, but there's no doubting that I had enough candles to start my house on fire on my cake, okay?
Yeah, time's running out on Mike and me.
Time's running out on us. I mean, come on. They act like we got all day. We're rebuilding. Take your time. I was born in 1952. Arnold Palmer wasn't even around yet. Take your time.
That is outstanding.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So again, before we sign off, you're leaning towards the Bears. What do you
okay. The bear thing. Bears. Here. I'll give 3 official picks out today, and keep track for me, will you? Because I lose the paper sometimes.
Okay.
All right. Then next week when I ask you, you'll have it.
I promise.
I better write it down.
I promise.
When somebody's coming at me, I just wave the flag and they go, "What's that going to do?" And they keep coming. Yeah. This used to be the symbol of respect.
That's right. What happened?
Yeah. We're coming at you. Yeah? You think so? Yeah, we're coming. Oh, okay. I love my flag. Okay. Cleveland plus 3.5 against Tampa. New Orleans plus 9.5 against Frisco, and under Atlanta 40.
Under Atlanta 40. All right, brother. Another great show. Why? Because it's Mike North, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we got a lot.
Where's your Puerto Rican flag?
Yeah, you know what?
I don't have an Italian flag. Got one?
Yes.
Hey, you want to be a state?
Please. We need all the help we can get. Goodbye, everybody.
Hey.